What should you do when disease attack your poultry farm? Here are some of the tips of what you should do if you find out that a disease has attacked your poultry farm. Diseases are the biggest thing that makes most farmers quit poultry farming. So here are some of the tips of what you should do in case you have encountered a disease on your poultry farm. You know, if you want to rear your chicken properly, for example, as in our chicken coop, you can see what we are using currently on giving our chicken drinking water. We are using the automatic drinkers. You can see they are automatic drinkers. Okay, and also you can see what we have used on this other end. I want to show you so that you can be able to know. First, you have to know how you'll be able to prevent diseases. After you have tried all those things and then the disease attack your poultry farm, then we'll get to how you'll be able to treat the diseases and how you'll be able to manage your farm. You can see what we have done over here. I want you to guess what we have done. You can see we have used these roosting patches. The benefit of these roosting patches is that during the night, you don't have a lot of chicken that are sleeping on the floor, because most of the chicken, when they sleep on the floor, they usually lead to respiratory diseases on the floor. And if you are able to have constructed, they're just as simple as you can see, that is just a pole from there up to this end, then that way then you just stack it on the wall like that without using any nail, so it is movable. I don't want to rattle this chicken, so you'll just have to bear with me. Another way of how you'll be able to prevent diseases from attacking your poultry farm, you can see our birds. They are very well spaced. You can see very, very well spaced, meaning if our birds are well spaced, we won't have any cases of congestion on our poultry farm. If we have congestion on our poultry farm, in case a disease attacks one of our chicken on our poultry farm, and that disease and the chicken are very congested in one area, that can lead to a faster transmission of the disease. And how can this come about? Have you ever heard of this disease known as Ebola? If you find out that Ebola has attacked a certain area or a place, there is usually that thing that is known as quarantine, whereby you take that sick person, then you put them in a quarantine. So that is the same way if you have encountered a sick chicken on your poultry farm. For example, if you come to this poultry farm, then you encounter a sick chicken, you have to take that sick chicken and put it in an isolated place so that you can be able to monitor that chicken and be able to treat that chicken. And why am I saying this? Why am I insisting that you have to quarantine the chicken? And the chicken must not be crowded. For example, if you have a lot of chicken like this one, let me just lean here so that you can be able to see them properly, and they are very congested in one area. If this chicken, for example, here gets sick and it poops down here, maybe it has some Newcastle or maybe it has some typhoid, it poops here. Chicken really like to peck on the ground. Even you can look here, you can see one like there is pecking. Just, it's not that it's not full, it is full, because if you want to know that the chicken is full, they are always very relaxed. You can see. And since this chicken of ours, we are raising them for the purpose of eggs, you don't have to feed them continuously. Ours usually feed them timely. I even saw an article whereby some guys were feeding the chicken that they were going to breed them so that they can be able to provide for them the eggs. They were feeding them like, I don't know, how can I explain that? They were skipping one day. They feed them today, then tomorrow they'll just be feeding on the water, drinking the water, then they feed them on the next day. And then I realized that they were doing so because for this chicken that you want them to provide you with the eggs, you don't want to feed them continuously. Because if you feed such chicken continuously, they will end up getting too fat. And if they get too fat, I want just to show you, you see this area behind here, inside the chicken, it will have a lot of fat deposit. You know, it's the same as us human beings. You know, if we eat a lot of calories as human beings, we get this belly fat, you see? And for the chicken, they get it behind here. And I heard that if you have belly fat, I don't want to go into many things. It has just very, very funny explanation. I think you get what I'm meaning. So for the chicken, if they have belly fat, that, can I say belly fat or back fat, because it is on the bottom part here. If it has that, a lot of belly fat, it won't be able to produce the eggs, because the fat will come and accumulate in the area whereby the egg should be formed, and the eggs won't be able to be formed properly. So the chicken won't be able to lay the eggs. So for example, if you are keeping chicken like this, you have to only take in of at what ratio of feed that you have to give to them. Okay, so let's continue with why you should take care of a sick chicken. If the chicken are too crowded and one chicken eats that poop of the other chicken, that will lead to a disease of the other chicken. For example, you only have that one chicken that is sick, and the other chicken has eaten that poop, and they are very crowded. Let me say they're just crowded as they are here. We don't have a floor space like this. If that eats, another one eats, another one eats, another one eats, that means that you'll have a lot of cases of that disease on your poultry farm. And if you have a lot of cases of that disease on your poultry farm, this means that you'll have to quarantine a lot of chicken. And this also translates to you buying a lot of antibiotics so that you can be able to treat those chicken. You get it? So after you have bought a lot of antibiotics to treat those chicken, meaning you'll use a lot of money to treat those chicken. And also you may end up losing a lot of chicken because some chicken may respond to the drug and some chicken may not respond to the drug. So if you want to put chicken in an area like this, make sure they are well spaced, as you can see. So after you have taken your sick chicken, then you put it into quarantine. After you have placed your chicken into quarantine, for example, that chicken, you have placed it in another room. You don't put the same quarantine in the same structure as these other chicken that they are living in. That can also lead to a transmission of another disease in your chicken coop. First of all, you have to make sure that you are washing the feeders and drinkers every day. Okay? And for example, if you have found out that that chicken, maybe that disease is like, it is easily transmittable. Maybe it has been transmitted on the wood shavings, you can use some preventative antibiotics. There are some of them in the market. I hear most people usually say don't give antibiotics. There are those high-end antibiotics that are used for the treatment of diseases. I'm not saying those kind of antibiotics. There are some mild antibiotics that you can give to your chicken whereby they can be able to prevent the disease from attacking your flock. So what you have to do for the remaining flock, you have just to use those mild antibiotics so that you can be able to prevent diseases on your poultry farm. For example, you can use aliceril. Instead of using aliceril that 100 grams into 100 liters of water, you use the 100 grams into 200 liters of water. So that is the preventative way. The 100 grams into 100 liter, that is the treatment way. So that is the best way of how you can be able to prevent some disease from occurring in the whole flock. For example, if you have a flock like this, if you do that, you'll be able to save you a lot of money on the treatment of a disease if it occurs on a poultry farm. Because if you have a huge flock and the disease just attacks the whole flock, that can lead to huge losses because you can end up losing a huge amounts of money due to the deaths that can be caused by the disease of the flock. So that is the better way of how you'll be able to prevent the diseases from occurring and from recurring on your poultry farm. And the other thing, make sure this water, you take it. If it is a waterborne disease, make sure you take this water and test it in a lab. You know, as human beings, we usually think that only us need to drink treated water. This chicken, there are some chicken that are very sensitive, and maybe if this chicken has some microorganism that can cause this salmonella disease, maybe the typhoid or the cholera, or maybe the coccidiosis, you have to really take in and take this water for testing. If it has any microorganism in it, it has to be treated with the right dosage. Maybe you can use the chlorine to treat it so that the microorganism cannot start reoccurring in the well. If you are removing the well from an open well, you are removing the water from an open well, and that is what you have to do so that you can be able to prevent diseases. And also, if that disease has occurred and you have treated this flock, maybe it has occurred on your flock, maybe you saw the early signs and then you treated that flock over, make sure you remove the wood shavings from the floor. As you can see, these wood shavings, if that disease, it has been in that chicken coop and these wood shavings was on the floor, then that chicken maybe has pooped. Maybe that disease is that whereby if the chicken is sick, it poops a certain kind of poop and it is in the wood shaving, and you have treated your chicken and your chicken is very well. make sure you remove the wood shavings from the chicken coop, because after you have removed the wood shavings from the chicken coop, these will prevent the chicken from getting the disease again and again, and you'll be able to disinfect the area properly. Even if the chicken are in the house, there are some disinfectants that you can use in the house that are not bad and cannot harm the chicken in any way whatsoever. So if you really want to be able to make money out of this venture, make sure that you follow the steps that I have put across, because if you only follow all those steps, you'll be able to get money out of this venture. And another thing, if you want to also prevent some disease from occurring on your poultry farm, you know, these wood shavings, make sure if your chicken, you can see maybe it gets wet like over here, down here, it's wet like because of the spillage from this drinker, this automatic drinker. You get the boys, then they come, then they remove this wet part every day in case it is part. Even if maybe you have a large chicken coop, make sure you also get into the chicken coop and also check whereby if you have the spillage from these automatic drinkers, because if the automatic drinkers they are spilling and then they spill on these wood shavings and these wood shavings start to rot, they will attract some microorganism over here and a disease can develop from there. So guys, if you really want to make money out of this venture, make sure you follow everything that I've told you and you will be able to make a lot of money out of this venture. And also you can see the proper ventilation of your chicken coop. That's the thing that I will keep on repeating till most guys get it, because that is the biggest thing that usually bring diseases on a poultry farm. Because if you have not open and properly ventilated your chicken house, a disease can incubate if it is closed on the other end, because this place in here will become warm, and that is the best environment for the microorganism to develop to diseases. So you have to really take care of how you'll be able to manage the ventilation on your poultry farm. And if you do all those things, you'll be able to survive in this venture. And for those sick chickens that you have taken, make sure that you quarantine them and you treat them, and then you give them time, like a week after they have become well. As you have seen them, they have become well. After a week, then you can return them to the coop. But make sure you have really managed to treat the disease before you return the chicken back into your chicken coop. If you are able just to follow everything that I've told you guys, you'll be able to get a lot of money out of this venture, because poultry farming is a game of you being very keen. It's a small mistake can lead to a very big loss, so make sure that you are extra keen, extra cautious. Don't take it lightly. If you just do everything as I have said, then you'll reap big out of this venture. As you can see, the roosting patches over here, the chicken are resting, meaning these chicken are well off. If you are raising chicken for eggs, don't overfeed your chicken. That is the only way you'll be able to get money out of this venture. So these, you can also see over the other end, they are resting. I want to zoom in so that you can be able to see. You can see they are resting over there, and they are receiving a cool breeze from the other end because of the maize. And over here it is very, very green. If you are able to do this, guys, make sure you will be able to earn a lot of money out of this venture. And guys, for those guys that want to know the 10 things that I wish I knew before I started poultry farming, make sure you click up here so that you can be able to see this video.